Oh wow, the canvas is wide open now, isn't it? Okay. So you're gonna fall through here. And you're gonna fall right there. I'll get you over here first if I want to. Or not. There we go. Boink. Now this is an idea that has legs. Alright, let's see how far they take it. This is cool. Okay, so it's way the hell up there. But I'm curious, this is flush against it. Does it mean the whole wall will rotate? Oh no, it won't. The whole wall did in fact not rotate. Okay, so I need you to go... I need to somehow get it all the way up there, because it's not going to come with us. It's even with the top of the thing, so I probably want you to ultimately be yellow. That's probably it. I want this to be yellow, so it can take it up. There we go. Got it. If it could catch there, it would go through. No other color seems like a particularly great idea. Make you blue, perhaps? And then you get to be purple? Boing. There we go. Gotcha. And... oh! Safety hazard. Okay. This one's not too different, is it? Kind of is. We probably want to use red for this one. Because it'll reach that far in the middle. Middle part of yellow doesn't reach that far, so it doesn't really apply. We're putting blue here. Purple here. Well, it's not gonna slide the way I would hope it would. Not one bit. Alright. Well, that's not gonna work out. Whee! Oh, it didn't fall off either. Okay. Don't think that was a good plan. That one could be useful, though. Let's try... What's your height? So your bottom matches the bottom. Your top matches it, so... There's different options here, I suppose. And that's not one of them. Hey, you're not gonna line up. And you're over it, so that's not gonna help. That's way too high to be of any help. And that other one's gonna be an issue too. Yep. And I can't do a red line from up here because it's too high. So whatever help I do has to be on the left. I'm trying to narrow down the variables here. Whatever I put, it has to be here, ultimately, because the other, well, that has to be here or this one. Those are my two options, basically. Everything else is going to be out of position. This one can't hold it here. There's no bottom part, so it's probably this one, because it's at least the right height. Yeah. Question is, how do I get on the end of it as opposed to the middle of it? Nothing else seems really like it would really work. That's the wrong way. I'm kind of just workshopping right now. Just looking for weird ideas. It's a little interesting. Probably not going to work out at all, but it's a little interesting. That's not going to help at all. Wrong position. Alright, definitely need to start over. I have an idea, I think. Maybe. Here's an idea. So you match up with this. And you... boom! And then catch it. So like, put this like this, and then catch it. And then you can push it. Oh my god! It worked! Alright. Oh, that's the end. The ball. Oh, is that my last ball puzzle? Because I just got the achievement called the ball.
Okay. Fingers crossed you're hearing this. The man on your radio? This 919 person? Mission controls say that 7 years ago, they had a space shuttle malfunction and fall out of orbit. The shuttle's name was 919. They lost contact. It drifted out into deep space, and everyone assumed the astronaut on board was dead. It's possible that his suit kept him alive. There's a photosynthetic layer, just like yours, that converts light into proteins and oxygen. But they didn't think it could last that long. The astronaut's name was Jonathan Burns. And if he is Jonathan Burns, he's been alone in the dark for a very, very long time. He'll be confused. He may not know where he is or who he is. Here we go. I'm orbiting out of range. I'm warning you. Deep space and isolation destroy the mind. Don't listen to that voice.
All these undulating surfaces and stuff, like... This whole environment definitely works better when it's not part of a story. And you just are like, oh yeah, it's just a made-up bullshit environment for puzzles. Yay! But like, trying to think that hallway exists for a reason is so weird to think about. Once they try to contextualize it within a story at all. What's gonna happen if I make you purple? Because you look like a really awkward surface. Oh, never mind. It'll just act like it's a horizontal arrow. I thought it was gonna do a crazy diagonal rotation. I'm like, whoa! In fact, that's actually actually something I have to do, is I have to rotate this, because that's gonna be a blue surface. Something you can use to go shooting off into space somewhere. That way. Or maybe not. If I shoot off of that, I'd shoot that way at nothing. That would not help me get to you. And I only get one of each. Wait, green? Oh, hi. Okay, so that just drops a square, apparently. That's probably also a sequence thing, because I want to drop that square and probably bounce it off the blue thing to make it land somewhere. Probably. It feels so weird being stuck and there's like a lip that's higher than me the whole time. I feel so trapped the whole time. Am I supposed to go up there ultimately? Is that the trick? Is I need to first get that blue... Yeah, I probably first need to get the green square inside. Probably need the green square to come in here so I can then step out of here. That's probably its main purpose. Okay, so... There we go. Fell in. Physics. And I'm outside the rim. Okay, so now I can touch that thing if I turn it into a bouncer, for example. Get rid of you again. That's probably the only reason that exists. Maybe. I can do stuff like make you stand out, if I want to. Right, I can also turn you into whatever I want. Which means I can make stuff like that. Okay, so that's like an escape right there, if I could just get there. Probably has to be yellow, I'd say. Yeah, if it was red, the middle one would be red, and the box wouldn't be able to land on top of it. So that's probably the final location I use green and yellow. Might still be used in interim pieces of the puzzle along the way. Not gonna discount that idea. Oh, that's disorienting. Rotating with it, I'm like, oh, I forgot what was gonna happen. I mean, it's almost the beginning of a solution, but yeah, there's no way to get across that gap that way. Not at the moment. How am I gonna get around that? Out of curiosity, is this one better centered? It's no better centered, so I can't make this one red either, because the green won't land on it. So I'm pretty sure it has to be yellow. The only question is should I have one panel here, or should I have a panel there? Which one helps more? I fell in. I fell in, and it sucks down here, and I want back out, please. Crap. Alright, bear with me for a second. Ah, go away. Escape! Alright, let's not fall in again, please. So I do think I want it like this, probably. That's not a distance I can use at all. I don't think it is. One way to find out, I suppose. Oh, I can't even land on the red that way, let alone make it over there. What if I used purple here? The problem is you're on like the wrong side. Unless I can like rotate it while I'm going for it. That jumps clean over it. You can't do it while you're in midair. That's not happening, I don't think. I don't think. You can't make these match up ever, can you? They're always in the wrong corners. Blur, that was weird. How does one make that work for them? Yeah, if I rotated this over here, it'd be that wall, then that wall, and then you'd be on that. Yeah, you're always gonna be not on the same side of the wall. You're almost more centered. I wonder if that helps more? Or are you more centered? No, I think I tested and found they were both the same position anyway. So that doesn't matter either. And where does red factor into this? Where would I use red? This music is like so dramatic about this situation. Yeah, you are not allowed to click in midair. Does not let you at all. And you cannot reorient yourself in midair. You can't like lean. So this plan's not going to work. Okay. But what if I rotate the? No, I can't. I had what I thought might have even been a cleverer idea, which is what if I rotate the bottom, and the bottom's rotating when I launch off it, but there's no second thing down here, so I can't make the bottom rotate while having a jump thing there. So I was definitely like, what if I rotate it around and I jump across like that? You're getting me into some trouble right now. Ah! Alright, back to basics, let's say. Alright. Starting over with assumptions. So I've been figuring that putting the green thing there is what helps. I've been thinking you need the green platform there to continue, basically. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, wait a minute. Let's check the height on something real quick. Oh, I have an idea. Okay, you... Will you stop my fall? No. Not entirely. But maybe you'll catch me? Okay. Now I just need to get there. Ta-da! That uses everybody, right? Yeah. Alright, that did use every color. Neat. Dun-dun-dun, 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 dun-dun-dun. All 5 colors again, small room, weird paint smeared everywhere. Hard mode, now you can't see because the glass is dirty. My goal is to something. Oh, my goal is to break the glass so I can go through there. So I need a spring, I need you to be blue. Because you're the only one on the ground, right? You're gonna launch the green up in the air. Somehow? Somehow. How? And I can't just turn it into the other thing. That might kick it out enough that it would land there. Is there one up here or something? Jump! Up. Up. Nope, the ice is not breaking the glass. Why is there a reset button exactly? Why is there a reset button, actually? All of these powers self-reset. There's no physical object in this environment to be reset. Weird. There was actually some other puzzles that there was that one puzzle I got stuck with because with the cable that trapped me, and that one could have used a reset button. Okay, so what's throwing me for a loop right now is that if I took a green and summoned it somewhere, now what? Like, I can summon a green anywhere, but then what? Like, how do I move the green? Because I can't turn that surface into something else. Because then the green goes away. You know what I mean? And none of these are next to each other. Oh, is that the trick? Right, I was failing to consider this guy, wasn't I? Okay. I got you, game. Took me way too long to realize what's going on here. Maybe not that. I want it to be that side, I think. You don't match up. You match up. Right there, so I want you to be yellow. We want you to be there. We want you to be there. Okay. Which means you have to be green, so you have to be purple. How'd you end up diagonal? Come out straight. Weird. Crap. Didn't think that one all the way through. Okay, so the middle has to be lined up. That doesn't work. The middle of this doesn't line up with this. The middle of that doesn't line up. Here's an idea. What are you gonna do if I make you if you... What? Oh, that's weird. That's how we line it up. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Whoops. What the heck is that physics right there? Alright, start over. I'm on the right path, though. Definitely. That's how we line you up. Now it'll be lined up with the centerpiece of this, which means that it'll be lined up with the blue. Okay. I guess I need to specifically line you up with the broken piece of glass now. There it goes. That's the puzzle. Alright. Gotcha. Out. That was a clever little puzzle. I'll give them that. You have to rotate the floor. Something you've never done before.
I'm running out of power. If you don't believe me now, this may be your last chance. She's lying. That's how people lie, with lots of little details. They tell you about a date, a time, a name. It makes it seem real, but it's not real. Christ, we're probably in the same goddamn box. I'm going to bang on the wall. Listen.
I mean, I don't really hear you, but also, who built this place?
But you have to believe what I'm saying. Wait. Oh my God. The name they told you, Jonathan Burns. It's not a name, it's a threat. You're Jonathan, and they're going to burn you. Jesus Christ, they're going to make you walk right into the incinerator. Oh, God. I'm losing signal. Don't listen to her.
His arguments are really not very strong. He's like, I'm going to now explain the concept of lying to you, as if you don't know what lying is. Because he just has so little to go on. This is a narrative that... This is what people mean when they talk about a narrative being thinly written. That's generally how this applies. There's just not much to it. It's just too by the numbers, and there's just too little going on with it.
You need to get out of there right now!
I can see space outside!
Whole thing is coming apart. There's an escape shuttle dead ahead. Get in and go!
No, it's not a shuttle. It's a coffin. And they want you to launch yourself into the incinerator. You knew the second you woke up here. I know you knew it. Our fingers are crossed behind our back.
Go! Don't listen to him. He's crazy. He's lying. I don't know. Get in a shuttle.
Get in the shuttle or what?
They're trying to jam my signal. Don't listen to her.
Is it decision time then?
I don't want you to die.
That's the only thing they want.
I mean, I am in space, according to me looking out the window and seeing that we're in space.
Please go!
Do you think it's a coincidence there are no windows to prove you're in outer space? They already buried you. Don't kill yourself for them too.
No, I just looked out a window and I saw that I was in outer space because I could see between the blocks. So, ta-da.
Keep going. You're a hero. The president is on the line waiting to talk to you.
The president's not down there. No one's down there. No, no. What the hell are you doing? Stop it. Get out. For God's sake, get
We're all
out.
waiting for you. Everyone's waiting for you. The whole planet, your wife's there. Your entire life is waiting for you at the end.
This is the end. They're gonna burn you alive. You can still stop it. Rip out the wires. Smash out the bullets. Please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. Don't leave.
This is Mission Control. Damn, it's good to see you. We have someone special on the line for you.
It's me. Oh my gosh, you're okay. I knew you would do it. I knew you would, but... Just come home now, okay? Please, just come home. Here's something I never thought I'd say. The president wants to talk to you.
Go ahead, sir.
Well, thank you just doesn't quite cut it, does it? You haven't just saved the lives of every person on this planet. You found a life we thought was lost forever. Captain Jonathan Burns of Shuttle 919. And Captain Burns, now we know you're out there. We will not rest until we bring you home, no matter what. I assure you, you are found. As for you, you may have had your doubts through all this, but you persevered. In life, we don't get proof until it's done. That's how humanity achieves great things. By having faith in the possibility of good.
I find it really funny that a game about playing block puzzles turned into, like, save the world, it's a global catastrophe from, like, the Borg, like, it's the Borg cube. It actually plays like Frog Fractions, where, like, the whole, like, it becomes a joke. Like, I almost wish they laid into it heavier, like, we're completely ridiculous with the story, like, oh my god, you're saving babies with every puzzle you solve, and, like, go silly with it. Because they unintentionally become that with, like, how, like, just way over scale this is. It's a weird, like, they made a weird abstract puzzle game where you just go around and solve puzzles, and, like, and then there's all these transition elevators where the walls freak out and go, woo, look at my freaky walls and stuff like that. Then they're like, but then, like, secretly that's somehow also, it's an evil ship full of puzzles. This evil alien ship's gonna blow up Earth if you don't stop it. It's like, what? Really? And, like, the dialogue, like, is like a crazy parody levels at the end, where it's like, freaking, one of them's like, your wife's on the line, and the president, your whole life's ahead of you, oh my god, press the button, everything possibly good that could ever happen's all gonna happen at the same time. And the other person's like, they're gonna burn you alive, why do I think that, how do I know there's an incinerator, why would I think there's an incinerator, I don't know, I'm just making shit up, they're lying, like, he's like ranting about all these things that are gonna kill you that he's never seen before and has no reason to think he exists. So it's like, both of them are so nonsensical, you could easily think both of them are lying. But you look out the window, they're like, isn't it weird how there's no space? There's no windows that make it see that you're in space? And I'm like, I just saw through the level. I could see through the cracks in the level, which was the thing that I kept saying throughout the entire game. I'm like, oh look, you can see through the cracks over there. Oh look, you can see the cracks over there. Like, and it was always like these weird unintentional problems. But that time it actually, like, spoiled the ending, because I looked through the cracks and I'm like, oh look, space. I can see space. And then after I saw space, he's like, isn't it weird how you can't see space? I'm like, I already saw the space, dude. I could see it through the cracks. So we're in space. She's right, you're wrong. Hey. Look around for your surroundings, look for evidence, and you can solve mysteries. There you go. I solved the mystery with my eyeballs. So that's the grafted on crappy story. Blah. It's not, like, aggressively bad. Like, I'm not like, oh my god, it ruins the game. It's just, like, really funny, mostly. Like, you mostly can just ignore it the entire game, and then it just out of nowhere at the end, it's like, oh my god, it's the ending, and it's really important. And I'm like, I don't even remember, when did I blow up the alien ship? Like, what am I doing that's blowing up this alien ship? I don't know. Solving puzzles is blowing it up, apparently. Weird. Okay, I'll just believe you. The place looks continually more messed up as I go, I guess, for some reason. I was really confused when it was time for the escape pod, because I'm like, wait, it's blowing up? I beat the ship? When did I beat the ship? I'm confused. When did I beat the ship? Because I was like, I didn't know I beat the ship. When did I beat the ship? There's no, like, Gladys boss fight where you're like, oh yeah, I fought the robot and I beat it. So it's like, without that, it's like, why is this ending happening? I didn't know I did it. So the original game didn't have that. I don't know how much they changed it, because I played it a long time ago at this point, so I don't really remember. I mostly just don't remember any of the weird stuff happening. I think I remember it being a relatively straightforward transition from room to room. I don't think I remember any of the broken boxes and debris and cracked stuff existing. I think that's all new. And I don't necessarily remember the visualization hallways where the environment's freaking out. I think I remember the doors being all playful, like, wow, this door opens this way and this door opens that way, like those little minor distractions. But yeah, there's a silly playfulness to all the doors and elevators that speaks to a more abstract nature, like Antichamber, where they're just like, we're just doing shapes and stuff because we feel like it, and that flies in the face of the story trying to make you think this is a real location and there are stakes. I'm like, no, this is just random shapes and puzzles. So the two matched together is super weird. I haven't looked into Q.U.B.E 2, so I don't know what that's going to be about. I know it exists and I know it's coming out next year, but I usually don't really watch stuff about games I'm going to play generally. So I don't know if they're going to have like a better written story this time around, or if they're just going to dump the story and not bother with it. I could go either way. Not having a story in a puzzle game is honestly just fine for me. I did cite it as earlier as being potentially a reason why I stopped last time when I hit that one physics puzzle weird magnet thing, but that's less the story thing and more the puzzles problem. Is like I was not solving the puzzle. I'm like, I don't really like this puzzle. I don't really want to play anymore. And yeah, like if you had a story that you grapple onto with characters like Wheatley and stuff like that, you're like, oh, I want to keep going regardless. So I gotta get to this puzzle so I can see what happens next and what funny hijinks happen next. So like a story can help a puzzle game, but it's not necessary. I largely played The Witness without any real hints of the story for the majority of its experience, and I'm just like, yeah, this is fine. In fact, it was my favorite game last year, so that was fine too. So I could go either way. I get the feeling that after going through the trouble of making the director's cut, I figure they'll probably have a story next time because they probably feel committed to it. So maybe they'll have more time to flesh it out and write it as they go and make a little bit more sense. And the game will be built around it instead of it having to be like stapled onto it awkwardly, like a weird, like they're just stapling limbs onto a rat. Like, yeah, these are yours now. They're attached. Pretend they work. Because it didn't work. As far as the puzzles go, they're fine at the beginning and the end. There's just a weird middle chapter where they just kind of spin their wheels for a while and kind of don't do anything interesting. And that seems to be a reoccurring theme with puzzle games. These like indie puzzle games that seem like that are less polished. Chroma Gun, Glitch Space, and a few other ones I can't think of right off the top of my head. Like, I think that just seems to be a reoccurring thing with these puzzle games. They have a core concept, and that core concept is what they should be iterating on throughout the game. Like, Portal is really good about the fact that Portal sticks with portals in the first game. It has buttons, and it has cubes, and it has dangerous projectiles and stuff like that. But you're solving everything with portals, and those portals are all solved, like, you solve things with portals the same general ways. Like, you do some physics stuff. The physics is all nice and consistent because they had a good engine for it. So the objective was usually find the exit, trace the dotted line from the exit to find what's interacting with it, usually a button of some kind, figure out how to press the button with a cube or something, and it works really nicely and intuitively, and it's a cool concept. And they iterated on it. Like, Portal 1 is an amazing blueprint. Like, I think on some level Valve made an almost Myst-like game as far as like revolutionizing puzzle games goes, because Myst obviously was the blueprint for puzzle games for a super long time, and in some ways still is for certain games that want to follow that path. But a new approach was kind of brought up by Valve specifically with Portal, where we have these like chamber puzzle games you see in like stuff like Talos Principle and other stuff like that. And if you take the lessons from that correctly, then you have a core concept and you iterate on it, and you iterate on it, and you iterate on it, and you hopefully have an idea with enough depth to iterate on. Chroma Gun's problem is that its little color mixing magnet wall thing didn't seem to have enough depth. So like, by the time I beat the game, I was like, there's just nothing more to do with this, is there? And so like that's the question when you have an idea like Q.U.B.E or an idea like Chroma Gun, does the idea have enough depth for puzzle mechanics as a Portal, for example? And like Steven's Sausage Roll showed how far you can stretch an idea. Steven's Sausage Roll was about as simple as Portal on an intuitive level, but that game was significantly longer than Portal, and it was a relatively massive puzzle game with very core, relatively basic, just move this thing around and roll it mechanics. That was like, wow, this puzzle game keeps going, and look how many puzzles it can get out of this idea. Like, that was super impressive. That, like, I won't say it's my favorite puzzle game, or even one of my favorite puzzle games necessarily, but Steven Sausage Roll is one of my most impressive puzzle games besides Portal, like how much you can get out of an idea. Games like Cube and Glitch Space kind of seem like they flounder a bit in that they have a core concept that they establish early on, but then they meander away from it because they didn't have enough resources, or their mechanic didn't work enough, or something, and I can't say which that is because I don't know behind the scenes what they went through. It could be that the core Cube idea just didn't have enough legs, so like they couldn't make a long enough game out of that, and so they just threw ideas at the wall for other stuff they could pad it with, because like they just didn't have enough variations on the main idea they can go with. Or it could be that they just genuinely made a bunch of different mechanics, thought they'd be good for a campaign, but then those individual mechanics just didn't hold up. Because like they just start throwing stuff at us. Like the darkness stuff is a cute idea, because it's like, oh, now solve this puzzle, but now you can only see one thing at a time, so you kind of have to memorize what's going on around you. It's minor, but it's just a color variation of the main puzzle, so it's an intuitive step forward of just screwing around with different variations. But then it's like, push some cables around, and I'm like, okay. I mean, the problem with the cables is that they have a one-to-one connection with, like, this cable has to go there, that cable has to go there, so it becomes paint by numbers. You're like, well, that has to go there, and that has to go there, so, like, this is, like, this puzzle is basically self-explanatory because its question is its answer, and it becomes too clear. And the only reason I really failed the cable puzzle to begin with was the fact that it had too much physics in it, and the physics was inconsistent and managed to fail. And like, they made a physics-based thing where the physics objects can be too like wibbly-wobbly in their performance, and you can essentially do the correct things but fail anyway, which is a bummer. And you can tell it's unintentional because that room didn't even have a reset button, so like it didn't even consider the idea that it could possibly become unsolvable, but it became unsolvable. And that kind of became a recurring thing, as the physics were inconsistent and awkward, but then there was also, they kept leaning more and more into these physics puzzles that didn't seem to work very well. You can tell when the game hits its stride, because whenever it had you rolling a marble down a ramp, you're like, okay, we're building upon mechanics I know. Let's figure out how I can use these things to screw around. And by the end of when we got to the last marble puzzle, it was actually like relatively intensive. Like they were coming up with new variations upon that. Whereas on the other hand, you have like, this is the puzzle section where a little glowy ball hits stuff and turns right. How many puzzles are there of that? 3. And then it goes away forever. And like one of them was kind of a little difficult, but like they just never went anywhere with that again. So it's like, why did you introduce that mechanic? It didn't have a momentum to it. Then you never meshed it with the other mechanics that you were also building. Like there was no part where, like shortly after that, we end up with like laser wiring puzzles where the puzzle is to make lasers point at stuff. And sometimes you have to make it point through a color. So first they make you point lasers at stuff like twice. Then they make you blend the colors like twice. And then the lasers go away forever. And like there's no puzzle where you have all of the different pieces and you're rotating walls and all the different colors are in place and there's a little guy wandering around that turns right and you're in the dark and you're using the lasers. Like they don't really ever come together the way that Portal 2 will eventually be like, you have portals and you have paint, now let's mix them together, and like those mechanics combine into a cohesive campaign of some kind that mixes together and accomplishes something. Like that never really happened. And so that's the criticism I have on the puzzle level, is just that like they just kind of, it's like deleted scenes basically. It's like it'd be almost like if they had, like if a movie had deleted scenes, it would be the scenes that don't complement the rest of the movie and don't work, but they already made, so they're like, oh, we'll put them on the deleted scenes thing, maybe somebody will watch it. Like the beginning and end of the campaign felt like it was a cohesive campaign, but there's a middle part where there's like 3 random puzzles that come up for only a couple rooms at a time, then disappear forever, that feel like deleted scenes that were left in the movie, essentially. And like, it's just really, really strange. And they weren't necessarily great mechanics to begin with. I think the wire one in particular was kind of just crap. And yeah, I think the rotating cube one didn't really have legs very much. You can probably do some interesting things with the you might be able to do some interesting things with the wiring cable stuff. The problem with the laser wiring thing where you're I have to be careful because I realize I'm being redundant with my voice, with my terminology. When I talked about the laser wires, I shouldn't call them wires because there were wires also, but I'm talking about the lasers the beams you point in directions and bounce off of stuff with mirrors. That stuff could have been going somewhere. You might have been able to bring that for more ideas, but the problem with putting that idea in this game is that those beams had, like, nothing to do with the core mechanics. Like, when we were dealing with, like, rotating a bunch of mirrors to reflect a beam 90 degrees in a bunch of different directions, like, you're not using the red, blue, and yellow, like, colors anymore. Those those core things you use for the entire game, we just stopped using them, and it was just having me point lasers around and to solve rooms. So it's like, it becomes schizophrenic, where you're suddenly just playing a different game all of a sudden, and then you snap back to playing the original game when the game remembers that was their core gameplay. Weird choice. I don't want to be too harsh on it. It's fine. It's a puzzle game. I had an alright time. I'm just talking about my criticisms, and criticizing something isn't the same thing as hating it and stuff like that. I'm just talking about the issues that come up. And it's very much what you kind of expect from indie projects, because it's kind of like, on some level for indie stuff, like, it's just kudos for just getting the product out the door in the first place. Like, at some point you're just far enough in development that you have to pull the trigger on the project and just, like, you gotta put it out there. And some stuff just sort of lingers, and oftentimes the developers are well aware of the issues that the game has. Like this stuff doesn't quite fit, but we've been at this forever and we're running out of money, and, like, this is it. This is what the game's going to be ultimately. That's the kind of stuff that happens. If you have infinite money and infinite time, you can polish and iterate forever. And I think this game could have benefited from that stuff, and it probably wasn't actually realistically feasible in the real world, is probably what led to it not being that way. Because if you're clever enough to making puzzle games, you're probably clever enough to realize basically everything I just said about what isn't quite working about the puzzle game. Probably. See you guys next time. Probably gonna play an adventure game next. Yeah. Because this was supposed to be like the puzzle game, adventure game hybrid slot, and I've kind of been leaning heavy into puzzle games, but I kind of want to alternate more consistently, because I have a lot of adventure games I want to play, and those are like, like point-and-click adventure games, and so I kind of mash them into the same category. Some adventure games are really light on puzzles, some of them are heavy on puzzles, or at least, like, you constantly have to find objects to take to the right place to continue and stuff like that. Some of them are just kind of like narrative-driven, and I never really know until I go in, because it's, I never know entirely for sure which one it'll be when I go in, because I go in blind generally, so I apologize if some of them aren't super puzzle heavy, but that's just kind of the dice roll, and I'll try to, I think my general plan, sometimes at least, is to, like, switch back and forth binary style between, like, abstract puzzle games like Q.U.B.E. and then, like, environmental adventure games like King's Quest type stuff. See you guys next time.